I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with the market right now. So I'm going to start sharing my screen so you can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. This is QQQ, and this is even after market hours. We dropped an additional 0.7%. So if you're trading a triple leverage ETF, that's three times that. So that's about 2.2% that your triple leverage Nasdaq ETF is most likely in the red or in the green, depending if you're bullish or bearish. With that being said, we also have the overall Nasdaq Futures. We are now trading pretty much at 11,900. So we are showing signs of a support right around 11,900. If we break below that, 11,800. If we break below that, 11,700. You guys get the, get the hint, right? If we look at this on the 5-minute time frame, again, this is why we talked about confirmation is so important. There's no reason to predict the future, simply prepare for it. I'm still a big believer in the idea of preparing for a market recovery, but I'm very glad that I made a crucial point that our job is not to predict the future, our job is to prepare for it. The market can always get cheaper. Stop trying to find the bottom and just set those alerts and wait for confirmation. I'm still a believer in the sense that if you pick one or two stocks that you really see value in, that you think is going to recover when the market recovers, now is the time to prepare. Markets are very oversold. Markets are very cheap. That has not changed. It's the idea of trying to find the bottom that will really get you in trouble. And today is a great example. After yesterday, we were showing signs of a potential support, and go watch yesterday's video. I made sure that I was very clear. And I'm bullish, right? I want the market to recover, but I'm not naive. I know that we had no confirmation. I know that we were not trading above the EMA. I told you that that's exactly what I'm waiting for. And what happened today? Well, let's talk about two things, really three things. The first thing is when it comes down to the series of different reports that were released today, a handful of them, the most important one was missed. And this was retail sales. On top of that, I'm sure you guys have heard of it if you guys follow me on Instagram. If you don't, it's the third link in the description of this video. But mortgage rates for the first time since 2008 are at these levels of 6%. These are the highest levels that we've seen of interest mortgage rates since 2008. It's literally 96% more expensive to buy a house because of that 6% interest rate now than it was 2 years ago. That's important to know. This is only going to slow down demand for the real estate market and cause inventory levels to go up. And now that we're talking about kind of like market sentiment and the shift from seller's market to buyer's market, that's essentially what caused the market to sell off in the very beginning. It was the overall housing market and the mortgage rates. That's what caused a lot of selling pressure very early on. With that being said, I also want to make sure that you guys are aware that consumer sentiment report is released tomorrow, which is 30 minutes after the market opens. If you guys don't know what the consumer sentiment report, it's released on a weekly, if not monthly basis. And again, feel free to look into it. It's very important to understand the different reports that are released and how they influence the overall market. I don't think it has an overall major impact. I would say it's relatively pretty light. We all know what we expect or what our sentiment is about the current market. So I don't think much is going to change. But again, that's just me. As of right now, I just know that direction is not in our favor. There's a lot of selling pressure. There's a lot of fear being installed into the market. And I sent out an announcement to my Learn Plan Profit group. I made sure that they were aware of headline momentum. We had a horrible Tuesday, right? Let's look back very quickly. Horrible Tuesday, one of the biggest red days for the Nasdaq market this year. So guess what? In just those 4 days, we have lost a significant percentage of the Nasdaq market. So I think that there's going to be headlines tomorrow that are only going to cause the market to sell off even more. That's what I believe. I think market sentiment and headline market sentiment is going to be so negative, it's only going to cause more selling pressure because we are on track to have one of the worst trading weeks this year. And I think that will only cause more fear and therefore more selling pressure. I think it's going to be an overreaction, but I'm saying that because of our day traders. For those that are trying to make money within the day, again, understand headline momentum and why it's so important, especially on a Friday and especially after a very red or a very green week. This is what tends to push markets even further above or below, and that's what we call an overreaction. The last thing that I quickly want to talk about is, well, what caused the market to sell off? I'm sure a lot of you guys saw this. We were somewhat recovering after market, and then all of a sudden we dropped and then we tanked. What happened? Well, I have the answer for you. FDX, which is FedEx, they are down 16.5%. And because they are down, so is Apple and so is Amazon. They said that their overall guidance for 2023 was way off based off of what they previously set an expectation for. I mean, Amazon was down 1.7% during normal trading hours, and within 30 to 40 minutes, it dropped another 1.9%. I mean, it's a pretty significant move to move something like Amazon. And not just Amazon, but Apple. You have to think, I mean, FedEx is a major provider for shipping, right? So even Apple is down 0.74%. Imagine having that influence to be able to drop the overall market and Apple itself. And again, it's the domino effect. FedEx reports that, obviously, Apple being something that has to work with, shipping companies, gets influenced negatively. It influences Amazon negatively, and those companies are so large that they negatively influence the market and bring it down even further. This is the domino effect that you must understand of how news might just affect one specific company, but the reaction and the domino effect affects many others, and then altogether it brings down the overall market, or it can make it rise, right? With that being said, I wanted you guys to have a better understanding of what caused the market to sell off after market hours. I like you guys to understand why. I'm not a big believer in the idea of telling people what to do. I feel like there's a lot of different ways on how to make money in this market, and I just like people to understand why something is happening. In a world full of problems, learn to be a problem solver, not a copycat. And with that being said, yes, this market is challenging. Yes, things are looking like they're getting worse. That should excite you. The cheaper they get, the better price you can get it for when you get confirmation of a reversal, and the more money that you can make if the market ends up recovering. And guess what? Based off of history, markets always end up recovering. It's simply asking yourself the question, can you tolerate the time that it will take for the market to recover? That's the only question you should be asking. How can you make it easier for yourself to tolerate the time that it will take for the market to recover? Because we know it will, but just will you still be invested? Will you still be in those positions? Watch that position size. It would make it easier for you, right? And don't get ahead of yourself. Set those alerts, stay patient, stay disciplined, and hold yourself accountable. I'm not here to do so. No one else should, only yourself. So again, I trade live every morning with my Learn Plan Profit group. I'd love for you to be able to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow. I added a $100 off coupon. It's the second link in the description of this video. You don't have to sign up, but if you want to work with me on a closer basis, if you want to watch me trade live every day, it's a one-time payment, lifetime access. And again, one time, or right now, it's one of our biggest discounts to $100 off. And again, that's that second link down below. If you have any questions before signing up, feel free to direct message me via Discord, and that's that first link in the description. But again, I will see you tomorrow at market open. Make sure that you set your alarms. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.